Hello, this is Dr. Linda Martinez-Louie. I want to speak with you about being married to an aggressive, narcissistic personality. Awaken, free yourself, evolve, and thrive. Recently, I was in a public area and that I hadn't visited before, and I became aware that there were at least 2 or 3 individuals who were, and this refers to both male and female, aggressive narcissistic personalities. I became aware that there were a couple of these individuals that were very aggressive. They were literally almost pushing their way into a certain space that they felt they were entitled to have. It was quite remarkable. And the other people around them didn't seem to pay much attention. They may have kept their observations, of course, to themselves, since this was a public area. But I was keenly aware of the vibrations that this very aggressive person was giving off. It was amazing. And it was very, very clear that this individual, he or she, was going to get whatever they wanted. And this is true about highly aggressive narcissistic personalities. Some children are born with more aggressive capacities than others. Some children are even shy. Shyness is something that is inborn. And of course, we can work with shyness so the individual is less reserved and feels more comfortable. But you can see even with babies that some babies are more reactive than others, more sensitive to their environments and the people around them. And others kind of roll with the punches. They're unflappable. Nothing seems to really bother them very much. And then there are others who appear to be quite aggressive. Now, this doesn't mean that because a child or baby is more aggressive, has more aggressive tendencies, that they're going to turn out to be an aggressive narcissistic personality. Not at all. Depends on what happens with the conditioning, the parental conditioning with this child and the circumstances in which they live. If you have been married or are married to an aggressive narcissistic personality, you know what a nightmare this is. They are constantly forcing their will upon you. It's almost like you can't even think your own thoughts. And if you verbalize them, you're going to be immediately criticized. So you are expected to fall in line with what they think, what they feel, and how, when, why, and where they must have certain things done their way. So you don't have much of a voice in this so-called relationship, or what I would call a non-marriage to an aggressive narcissistic personality. There isn't really any room for another evolving individual in this relationship, since everything is dictated by them. You are expected to become their servant, their mirror, even their adoring audience. And this simply does not work. So when you get to the point where you just can't tolerate it any longer and recognize this is a non-relationship, you begin to awaken and realize that you deserve much better. And then you realize that you can free yourself from this very psychopathological individual. Evolve and thrive. So you then are separating out and individuating from this relationship. And in some cases where you have had narcissistic parents or parent, you are then also separating and individuating out of your family of origin. And this does take a lot of work. Many individuals seek psychotherapy to help them, different kinds of psychotherapy that they find to be most helpful to them. And when you do, if you do decide you want to see a therapist, make sure that you interview several of them in depth, because there are narcissistic psychotherapists as well. So you make sure you don't have someone like that who is actually enforcing their will on you. You're going in, you're hiring this person to help you. You make sure that they are an empathic, kind, compassionate individual who is well trained, who knows themselves very well, and really cares deeply about their clients. And there are other aspects of your evolution and thriving that have to do with getting the sleep, the rest that you need, the nutrition. Nutrition is a very important part of healing and evolution of the authentic self. Making sure that you keep your blood sugar balanced throughout the day, that you drink plenty of really high quality water. Hydration is a very important part of balancing all the systems of the body. That you do activities that are creative, that you enjoy, so that you get your creative juices flowing. And activities such as restorative yoga or other forms of yoga are extremely helpful in recovering and healing and freeing yourself, where the emphasis is on the breath, the healing breath, gently going into poses or asanas that allow you to have a sense of wholeness and mindfulness, so that you're focusing in the moment rather than reliving the past or reliving something that is upsetting or disturbing to you. Rather, you are focusing on the breath in the moment as you move your body through the different positions of yoga. Yoga is one of the most healing activities you can do. And I've been reading recently about trauma, and there's a world-renowned trauma expert named Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, K-O-L-K, and he was talking about yoga and how yoga is exceedingly healing for trauma. But you have to pick the right yoga and also the right yoga teacher. There are some yoga teachers who are quite narcissistic, and you don't want one of these people because they're giving you a show, just like narcissists do. You want a yoga teacher who is evolved, who would be very nice if they had some kind of a spiritual practice in the way that they define that for themselves. Sleep is something that you want to make sure that you deserve to get good sleep. No one can interrupt that. So allow yourself to do that. And make sure you get to bed early enough at night, in the evening, before 10, so that the processes of healing within the body are taking place while you're asleep. Rest when you need to. Hydrate. Listen to beautiful music. Let your creative juices flow. Write automatically if you want to. Keep a journal. Write unedited. As you move along this incredible pathway to awakening, freeing yourself, evolution, and thriving along the pathway of the true authentic self.